Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. It's Wendy here from Little Nest Crafts. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope that you're all well, and I hope that you've been enjoying the collaboration that's been hosted by Rachel and Bella Crafts. And the collaboration is called 100 Days of Junk Journaling Ideas, for those of you who are new and have only just hopped aboard this wonderful crafting train that we're on, this journey. If you want to carry on and watch the rest of the collaboration, it's lasting for 100 days and it started on the 1st of March. All you have to do is type in 100 days JJI, which stands for 100 Days of Junk Journaling Ideas. And as you can see, it's by Rachel and Bella Crafts. And Rachel, as always, has invited loads of collaborators, other artists, to share their ideas with you. And haven't they been fantastic? We're into our third week now, and it's Thursday today, the day that you're seeing this video, although it's not really Thursday because I've filmed it in advance. But yeah, it's Thursday, and the collaborators have been great this week, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching what everybody has been making. For those of you who don't know, I'll quickly just show you the collaborators, and there's a few names that you'll probably be aware of on here, and there's also some new ladies as well. So I hope that you're sharing the love and giving them a like and a comment on their YouTube videos. And if you do that, you'll be entered into a draw, because each week on a Saturday, Rachel does a freebie. She does a draw, and you'll win a prize. Also, if you hop over to Rachel's website and her coffee site, you'll be able to print these off, and you'll also have access to the kits that Rachel has been making to go along with the beautiful kit. Now, the kit that goes along with this collaboration is called Billet Doux, which means love letters, or I can't remember what the other thing was now, but yeah, love letters. And it's a French theme kit. I'm not going to show you all the pages because I've done you a little bit of a flip through of the little mini journal that I'm making. I'm doing a little envelope flip-flop journal, and in my previous video I did show you a few of the pages. And if you want a full flip through, if you go over to Rachel's YouTube, Rachel and Bella's YouTube site, you'll see all the beautiful papers that are available in the kit. And it's a bumper kit. It comes with all sorts of different ephemera, all on the French theme, and it's absolutely stunning. Now, that's all I'm going to say on that. I think I've gone all over the housekeeping, so I'll put those to one side, and I'll show you the project that we're going to be making today. Now, week 3, which is this week, all of this week till tomorrow, Jezza creates, Jez is the finishing off this week 3, and then Saturday starts the new week, week 4, and the topic for week 3, which you'll see there, is tags and decorative elements. So I want to show you how to make this tag that I've done here, and it's all made out of packaging, and it's a shadow box, or a tunnel card. Some people call them shadow cards, I think, and some people call them tunnel cards. I think it is more of a tunnel card myself. And what it is, it's a decorative card, a tag, and it's got layers of vellum on there, and takes a little bit of working out, but it is doable. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I think, you know, if I don't say so myself, it looks really pretty. And the images that Rachel has produced for this kit are lovely, and I did like that one particularly, where the lady's writing, and I thought that she was sat there writing a love letter to her, either her partner or her betrothed or her lover even, make that more exciting. And yeah, so I hope that you like it and that you will follow along. So it's quite a tall journal, because what I plan to do is, once I've decorated this little mini journal, I'm going to make two, and I'm going to put them in the centre pocket here, and it'll slip in nicely in there, and it'll stick out a little bit because you've got the ribbon, etc. on the bottom. Now they're great, these tags, because you can send them as a, you know, they lie nice and flat apart from the bow, you know, and they are nice as a gift, and you know, they're very flat, very light, and great for a happy mail piece. So let me get my pieces together and I'll show you how we constructed this. Now, to make it easy, I've used dies to cut the shadow, to cut the tunnel effect in the vellum, and I'll show you how I did that. So to do it, you'll actually need one sheet of vellum, and I have prepped them in advance. You'll need one sheet of vellum, and you get these three, if you're doing it the same size as me, you get these three pieces out of the one sheet. And you'll also need a nice, you know, fairly sturdy cardstock. As you can see, this is leftover packaging, and I got these from Amazon, and they were deco stickers, and they were a bit grungy stickers, and I haven't used any of them yet, but I'm going to use the packaging. And I could have used that really, because that is French, but obviously it's got the Chinese writing on it, because it came from a seller in Amazon, and I think they were from China by the looks. So all I did is I printed off some papers from Rachel's kit, and you want something for the back and the front. I'm just going to move those out of the way. So I think what I'm going to do is pick something fairly plain. I did like that sheet, and I did think about using that sheet, but if I'm going to decorate it with the florals here, then it might look a bit too busy having those as like a background piece. So I'm going to now then, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to print off a blue sheet instead of having the pink, just to make it different. So just bear with me one sec, and I'll get I'll print another sheet off. Right, I've printed off this sheet, and I've put two to a page so that the print is a little bit smaller. Now, when I slid this tag inside the pocket, I had intended to take a bit more off the bottom because it's a bit tall. So I'm not going to put this one in the journal, I'll keep that one. So what I'm going to do is just take a smidgen off the bottom here, and with my trusty guillotine, just so it doesn't stick out as much as that. So all I'm just going to do is take a little bit off the bottom, and we'll have a look. So it's all trial and error, and yeah, see, that's still a bit tall, so I'll take a little bit more off. That's better. There we go. And it might be that we have to trim a little bit off these as well. So let's have a look. Let's see where we are with them. Yeah, we will. We'll have to trim a little bit off, but I've got to be a bit careful now because we want them to lay perfectly together. So I'll take a little bit off the top. Hold on 1 second. This is when it gets tricky. So make sure that they're lying in the right order. Oops. I've got no nails still. There we go. This one's a bit ski-whiff actually. That must be the largest one. That must be the medium-sized one. And it looks, that's better. That's better. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And then get some clips. And just measure that we've got them the right length here. There we go. I can do that with the scissors. There we go. Right. Get back to basics. So what we do first is we cover our, and I'll go over what we do with these. So we cover our tag, and I want to stick that on the back actually, like so. So we get my glue stick, and this is just an Elmer's glue stick from one of the craft shops here in the UK. A lot of people I know use Yoo-Hoo, but you use whatever you like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around the edge just to hold it in place in case this isn't in case it doesn't hold. There we go. And then we'll pop that on there. Now, have I got the border right to the edge? Yes, we have. So I hope that you're all well, and as I said before, I hope that you're enjoying the collaboration. There's been so many inspiring makes. It's been great to watch. I do love Rachel's collaborations, and she works so hard to make everything run smoothly, not only for us but for you as well. So that's that, and then I'm just going to ink around the edge. Rachel has coffee dyed digitally around the edge of the papers, so it helps save a little bit of time if you're using them as your book pages. So that's the back, and as you can see, it's a lovely print there, and you can write over the back without it being intrusive. And then we'll do the same now with this print here, and isn't that fantastic? I love it. One of my favourites. So we'll do the same again there. And what I intend to do is it'll be extra to the collaboration, is I'm going to be filming, you know, my little journal coming together. I was on holiday the first week. Chris and I took Toto, our parrot, and our two pooches, Amber and Jasper, onto a narrowboat, and we went on the Oxford Canal, which is in the middle of England, and it was lovely. Weather was absolutely fantastic. You could have worn a t-shirt during the day, but it got very cold at night. But we had no rain whatsoever, and the dogs thoroughly enjoyed racing up and down the canal path and meeting other walkers, or you know, people that live actually on their canal boats. And if I'd have been younger, I wouldn't have minded doing that, but I decided that now I'm old and crinkly, that it's a bit hard work operating all the canal, all the gates along the canal. I mean, Chris did all that for me because my walking's not brilliant. So he did all that, and I did all the steering. and it was a bit different from sailing. The boat was, you know, obviously a few tons heavier than a yacht, which was what I'm used to. And oh, I've left the bottom on there. Not to worry, we can ink that and it'll hide it. So yeah, it was some of the bits were a bit of a tight squeeze, turning round and things like that, but we managed it. And we had a few mishaps along the way, nothing major. It was absolutely hilarious, actually. The first day we were talking about extra memory, you know, for our phones, an SD card, and I said to Chris, I'm sure we've got one of those in our phones already. And I opened my phone and I took out the little card, and I said, you know, yeah, I says, yeah, I thought we had, and I put it back in, not noticing that the little card, SSD card, had fallen out. And it wasn't an SSD card, it was my SIM card. And we boarded the boat and set sail. Well, set off up the canal. And then I couldn't understand why my phone didn't work. It kept telling me that there was no SIM. So, of course, we were phoneless. So that was the first day. And that evening I made a pot of chili con carne, and I always do enough to last us for the following evening as well. And I'd popped the casserole dish on the side to let the half that we didn't use cool down. And when it was cool, I because the fridge had got other things in, you know, it's full of salad stuff and what have you, I didn't really want to put it in case it was slightly warm. So I put it back in the oven, thinking the oven was cool. And unbeknown to me, I'd left the oven on, and it was burnt to a crisp the following morning. It was burnt to a crisp. It was like charcoal. I could have drawn, sketched with it. And so that was that. And then we said, oh, you know, not to worry, we've got plenty of food with us and what have you. So I went to have a shower, had a shower, and it was what should we say? It was like a wet room. It wasn't there was no shower tray or anything. All there was a tiny little lip on the door of the shower room. And when I looked to find a switch to empty the water out of the shower room, on a yacht, you know, it's like a bilge pump. You press a button and it sucks all the water out. And so I shouted to Chris, where's the bilge pump thing to empty the shower? And we couldn't find it. So he phoned the office and they said, oh, it's on the wall. And there was this tiny little hook thing on the wall. And Chris had hung his toilet bag on it. So I thought it was just a place to hang your toiletry bag. So anyway, he came walking down the corridor to me to tell me, you know, where it was and what it was. And his weight on that side of the boat caused the boat to tilt on the water. So all the water that was in the shower actually went over this little lip underneath the door and all puddled into the hallway and trickled down the hall. So we were all, the dogs and Chris were all paddling in water. So that was the second day. And then the third day, what happened then? The third day, I was steering the boat, and we entered the third lock. It was a series of 9 locks that we've got to do this day. So we're in the third one, and Chris unwound the little gate that lets the water in to the compartment that you're sandwiched in, waiting to go up or down in level. And the water came rushing in, and it pushed the boat backwards, and the back of the boat hit the gates that were behind me, I went flying onto my hands and knees, banged my head, my side of my face, should I say, my ear, against the doors. So Chris came running up the bank, jumped on board the boat, and the dogs were going crazy because they wondered what I'd done. And so he put the dogs below deck, and he shut the doors and shut the hatch. And unbeknown to him, it was self-locking. So the door's locked, his phone's below deck, and I'd got my phone in my pocket with no SIM, and the boat keys and everything were below deck. So we were locked out. So we had to manoeuvre the lock, pull over to the side of the bank, and then Chris tied us up to the side of the bank, and then to cut a long story short, he walked along the hedgerow and he found a wire fence, and there was a piece of wire sort of sticking out, fortunately, and he wiggled it and it managed to snap it off, and he used it to make a little hook to go through the hatchway to hook and open the door. And so he managed to save the day, and we didn't have to ring the office for someone to come and rescue us and open the door. And prior to that, the first day as well, when we'd filled the fridge with all the salad stuff and what have you, cheeses and things, I couldn't see the numbers on the dial inside the fridge to set the temperature. So I said to Chris, would you have a look to see what the setting is and turn it down, because it felt icy cold. So when he opened the door, so he twiddled with the knob and he said, yeah, that's okay now. He says, I've turned it down. And the following morning, when I went in the fridge, everything was frozen solid. The cucumber, the tomatoes were like bullets. I could have caused him a head injury with the cucumber by hitting him over the head with it. And the lettuce was rock solid. Everything, it was, I tell you, it was, we never stopped laughing all week. Yeah, everything, it was all little things like that, it was just one of those weeks. So, but we did have fun, and we survived the week, and the dogs survived the week. Amber nearly got crushed between the boats when, that was another story. Chris had jumped off the boat and walked along the canal path to go to the lock gates, and Jasper ran after him, but Jasper was attached to Amber because we've got a lead that's got two leads attached to it, so that one person can, so that you're not taking two leads with you. You can attach two dogs on the end. And of course he dragged Amber overboard. She fell in the water just as Chris was pulling the boat to the side of the bank to tie it up. So luckily I managed to pull her out really quickly, otherwise she'd have been a bit squished between the boat and the bank. Oh dear, what a week. But anyway, going back to crafting, we've put the paper on the front and the back, and that looks really lovely, and you can't really tell there. And by the time you've got your vellum on, you won't notice this little bit on the bottom, so I'll just put that to one side to go off a little bit, and we'll concentrate on the vellum. So this was one A4 sheet, and all I've done is I've cut it into 3 pieces, and I've got this little die set which I thought would make a nice aperture. So what I did, I cut out the large one first. So I laid that on there and I put it through my die cutting machine and attached it with some low-tack tape. And then when I came to do the second piece, I'd got it attached like this. So just with some low-tack tape. There we go. and then I laid it on top of the other piece. Like so. And then I used the second die inside. And then you take this top one off really carefully and then put some low tack tape on this one. And then you can check to make sure whether it's slipped or not, and make any adjustments. And then I cut this one out, and then I did exactly the same then with the small one. I laid that over and I put the small one inside and got it as close as I could to being central in there. And then I took this off, this top layer off, and stuck that one down and cut that one out. And then that way you've got your three pieces to give you that tunnel effect on your vellum. And it is a bit fiddly, you know, but it's not difficult. It's just that because vellum is so slippy, you know, it does tend to slide around a little bit. So that's why I do recommend that you use some low tack tape. I mean, you can see there, look, on this one, that it's obviously slipped a little bit because the sides aren't straight. But the beauty of that is it, you know, you won't notice it when you've decorated it and what have you. And it's layered together. I might turn that over so it's less noticeable, if it works. Oh, it might not be that one that I'm going to turn, it might be this one. Let's have a look. No, that makes it too narrow. Stick with your original plan. There we go. That still looks nice anyway. And then what I did then is I got some clips, 2 or 3 clips, and these are just dressmakers clips, and I put these onto my card. And then I selected a photo from the kit, and I've got this one, which I'm not going to use now because that's pink, and although you can't really see it, I suppose I could cut the frame. Let me just cut the frame off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to there we go. No, I'm not going to. Bear with, and I'm going to get another photo. Right, everybody, what I've done is I've taken the dies and I've taken some more images out of the kit, and there's this one that's rather lovely. of a front door, which I thought might look rather nice through there. Or I've taken this one of the lady, and I've put that like that, and I think they both look lovely, don't they? That's what I say, Rachel's kits are so versatile. But I think I'm going to go with the door with this one, and I'll make another one and I will use that. And I also took this image as well, but it wasn't quite big enough. It was placed wrong on the card for me to get it central. You know, they'd make a nice matching pair if you did two, wouldn't they? So I might do another one with that as well. But for the purpose of this, we'll actually use this image here. So all I'm going to do now that they're pinned onto there, I'm just going to take my glue stick and we'll place this behind the vellum. And I'll also put some of this on it as well. I don't trust this glue stick, this particular glue stick. It seems to dry out really quickly and things start falling off. So I'll put a bit of Carlisle glue on with it as well. And then we'll just pop this behind. There we go. That's lovely. So while that's going off, I'll just make sure it's straight in the thing. Yeah, I'll do. Now then, what we need to do now, I didn't alter the corners of this one to make them tag shaped, but let's just have a look and see what it looks like. I can do that now. It's whether it actually goes through the vellum, and it's not going to. No. So I'll have to cut that now with the scissors. There we go. And I'll use this piece here. Oh gosh. Just see if it works. Nope. There we are. Okay. So, will it go through this one? It almost goes through. go. Okay, so that's the corners done. And then what I did on the other one, I did go round the window with a dauber with some pink ink, but I haven't got a blue in any of the distress inks, so I'm just going to leave that one as is for now. I have got some pastels, whether that would actually do it or not, I don't know. So what we've got to do now is put in our holes. So all I used was my crocodile. And we'll go there. And there. And then I have got some, not brads, eyelets. 1 second. I've got some eyelets of this colour. Amazing. These match the leaves perfectly, so we'll put those in. Let's have a look. There we are. There we are. So they're pinched nicely, so I can take those off. Now, I've got some lovely I don't know what you call it really, organza or so we'll take a length of that, because that matches the colour of the front door. Or we could have actually gone green as well to match the plants. But no, I'm going to go with the blue because I'm going to put some blue rub-ons. So I'll push that through there. No, I'm changing my mind. I will go with green because the brads are, no, the brad. Why do I keep calling them brads? The eyelets are green. And it matches that perfectly. So let's have a look. Yeah, I think so. So put that through there. Come on now. There we go. And we'll put this through there. Hold on 1 second, everybody. I need to get my pokey tool. There we go. So let's give us enough to do a nice little bow. Probably a bit too much there. Let's have a look. Yep, that'll be lovely. So we'll just pop this away. And then, because the heading for this video is tags and decorative elements, these are the decorative elements that we're adding. You know, you're adding eyelets to it, you're adding chiffon. That's what this is, it's chiffon. And a nice chiffon bow. And then we've got, let's have a look what we've got in the way of rub-ons here. And I've got lots, so I'll just see what I've got with in blue, in the blue hues, and I've got some with green and the yellow. Let's have a look. We've got these blue ones here, but I bought these from somewhere else and they're shiny and I don't like the shine. But what I've done is I've bought some I'm trying to think what it's called. I shall tell you now. I've bought a product called Matte Medium, and I was watching Julie over at Camellia Crafts, and she's the same. She doesn't like shiny, and she paints these with her Matte Medium and stipples them. She doesn't paint them, you know, as you would if you were doing a painting. She stipples them with her brush, so they dry non-shiny. So I'm not going to use those, although it'd be nice to have an experiment. We could use those. You watch, I probably won't be able to find any blue ones. Oh, there's a couple of blue ones on there. And we've got, you know, daisies on that one. Let's try and pick some flowers that I've got a French feel to them as well. So let's have a look. What else have we got? Excuse me 1 second. Just seeing if I've got anything in there. And I have got a blue set of butterflies. Right, decisions. So there's shiny green, there's shiny blue. I think what I might do is pick something out of here, because there's a slight blue tinge on some of these. Or I could go with something like that. Let's just open this one a sec. We'll have a look. Yeah, you see these are more of a lilac, aren't they? Yeah, they are. So I don't want things to clash. So we'll pop those back in. I don't think there's anything there. Yeah, they're lilac. Yeah, I'm going to go with those, I think, because these ones are just white. There we are. Let's have a look. Those are more of a graffiti style. Remember, every flower that ever bloomed had to go through a whole lot of dirt to get there. So there's a nice bird there, look. Which I could put in that corner, or there, that bird, yeah, that bird, I think. So let's have a look. Where's my skizzers? So this is just one sort of decorative element that you can use to put on your tags. we can also make a little dingle dangle to come off the ribbon, you know, so that you've got a bulb clip or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that there. And just rub it on gently. There we go. And then in this corner, yeah, I could put that. Let's have a look. And it'll just highlight the green. I know there's not any blue in it, but there's a tiny little bit on that flower. So try and hold it as still as you can while you're rubbing it on. And then just be really careful when you're taking it off, that you're not going to pull it away. Now then, because you've got layers, to add a bit of interest, so I'm just going to pop that on there. Maybe put something on the underneath layer. And we could perhaps, let's have a look at that. No, I don't want that. Let's have a look. Yeah, that might be nice. It's not too in your face. So, or we could do just a little small something or other. Let's have a look. And it's nice that you can just see it through. Yeah, I might just put that one on. Or that one. No. Or one that's easy to get to. Yeah, that one. There we are. And it's nice because you can see it through your layers, and then see what we're going to have on the bottom layer. Let's have a look. Do we need anything on the bottom layer? I think we're going to call it a day on that. So as an added extra bit of decoration, I'm going to add a bulb clip with a few beads and a button. Pop it in there. There we go. Just as a little bit of added extra. And then we'll do the same with this one. I've got a little polka dot button on there. And we'll put some we go. And we'll just add a little something on there as well. Maybe the button needs turning round. I always seem to face the wrong way with those bulb clips. But there we go. So I hope that you've enjoyed this project, and that you'll join me for the next one. Let me just turn the light off. Sorry everybody, casting you all in shadows there. So yeah, you've got two lovely tags there, and with some decorative elements on, and I think they'll go perfect with this kit. As you can see, the colours match perfectly, and it doesn't matter which pages you pull out, they all blend in together. So yeah, I do recommend this beautiful French kit of Rachel's, the Billet Doux, should I say, the Billet Doux. So I'll say good night everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed this make. Sorry I've been going off track a little bit, but I wanted to share my holiday with you, and yeah, hope that you will join me next time. So take care until then, stay safe, and I'll say bye for now. Bye.